Good afternoon and welcome back to Universal Studios Hollywood. Today is a Wednesday afternoon here in the park. We're actually an hour away from closing. I had work today and school today, so it's kind of a late park day. But I just made it into the theme park. Took a little bit longer to go in because there was only one line open, which is fine. And while I entered the park, they're giving us a complimentary limited edition pass member collectible squishy glamour tram. This was only available for the first 3,500 pass members that entered the park. I guess there wasn't 3,500 pass members today. So surprisingly, we have a lot of park updates today. And I'm gonna start over here at the Universal Studio store because we have a new display and merchandise that's been brought into the studio store. Now I'm really only gonna look at the new pieces of merchandise because we had a huge update on Monday talking about all of the merchandise. So I'll look at some of the new merchandise offerings. But it's a really fun display that they have set up over here. We have the monster from A Quiet Place and we have Keyface from Insidious over here. Additionally, some mugs. I believe these are newer pieces of merchandise. On the back half it says "Where Horror Lives." In the front it has this awesome sign. Now this is an interesting piece of merchandise. We have Mel's Drive-In Die-In. This is an Orlando piece of merchandise. It's offered for $35 each here. And we have a glow-in-the-dark t-shirt for $33. For Horror Nights, they transform Mel's Drive-In in Orlando to Mel's Die-In. They have a lot of this merchandise, lots in stock. I'm not sure how successful it'll be here in Hollywood because this is an Orlando thing, but I'll definitely get one. And then of course, some cases for your different AirPods, some watch bands, and some phone cases. I wonder if they have one for the Pro Max. It doesn't look like they have one for the 15 Pro Max, unfortunately. They have one for the 15 Pro, but not the... Oh, okay, this is the only one they have for the 15 Pro Max. Okay, that's actually not that bad. Phone cases are $38 each. The watch bands are $40, and the AirPod cases are $22 each. We have some stuff for the Murder of Crows scare zone over here. We've seen all of these pieces of merchandise. But we have a Quiet Place scented candle. I wonder what this smells like. To be honest, I feel like I already smelled this one, but we'll go for it. It smells like it has a hint of lavender, but it smells like candy. They found a way to hide this in the Horror Nights merchandise, but we have this big cape. This is a Dracula cape, by the way. In the back it says Dracula. It's a part of their Universe line. I bet this is like $100. 99. I was very close. Some Insidious merch over here. I want to get that tote. Dracula jersey over here. $70 for that one. This is the jacket I want to get this year. It has the tear trim in the front and in the back with the Blumhouse artwork. This is, I think, $60. Let me check the price tag here. $60. And to go with that, we have a little hat. Merchandise takes up a huge chunk of the store. However, we don't have any merchandise for the weekend quite yet. In the middle of the Horror Nights display, they have Tiffany and Chucky. Chucky dressed up like the Phantom of the Opera. What's going on with this face? And then they have Tiffany and Chucky's offspring over here, along with Chucky with ears around his neck. I think this is from the second movie, if I'm not wrong, but he looks like Leatherface. I was filled with excitement in our last update, so I didn't really talk much about this other piece of Slash merchandise. We have a Slash t-shirt over here, which is really cool. Has its Horror Nights look to it. $33 for this t-shirt. I mentioned the price of this Slash vinyl, but I never really talked about what songs are in the back. It's $60, by the way, but we have Universal Monsters Rising. This is from 2018. Live Again from The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. That's the main guitar riff song you hear in the front of the facade. Monsters Reborn from Bride of Frankenstein. Gypsy theme. This is Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. This was the very first song you hear as you walk into the Gypsy camp. Sweet Licks from Clowns 3D in 2014. And then we have some more on the bottom. Dance of the Dead. This is from the Scare Zone from the Universal Monsters, or following the Universal Monsters Maze in 2018. Cares the Mummy from Legends Collide 2022. Silent Screams from Universal Unmasked 2023. We Belong Dead. That was like the main song that played in front of the 2018 version of the Haunted House. And then the final scare. Very nice. And I saw this hat, but I didn't notice on the side it says USH Pass Member. It's a Pass Member exclusive hat. We have a shirt for The Purge for $33. I really like the display they set up for Ghostbusters over here, but I feel like they should have just made it Weekend. They would have sold all the merchandise so quickly if they made this the Weekend. Lots of Ghostbusters merch, a lot of repeating Ghostbuster merch on all of these stands. I'm sure, yeah, literally every single one of these stands has the same piece of merchandise. So I'm sure eventually they'll bring in Weekend merchandise. I love that they do this for Halloween, but they have little light up devil ears on the Universal globe. And then this is a new sign that they offer. I'm sure they rolled it out later in the day that I was there. It's $35. It's a really cool piece of artwork. We also have a mystery pin collection over here. These are the pins that you could collect. We have a Stay Puft Marshmallow, one of the newer monsters. Slimer, Ghostbusters Ecto 1 filled with those mini Stay Puft Marshmallows. And a chaser pin. You get this for $19. Some Ghostbuster patches as well. $15 for that. There's actually so many updates in the park, and I'm on a bit of a time crunch because the park closes in an hour, but quick shout out to all of our Dino Squad members. You guys rock. Thank you guys for keeping the channel alive. You guys are amazing, and I always want to give back to you guys, so every month we're doing a giveaway for channel members. On top of that, for Halloween and Christmas, I send little postcards, and of course exclusive pictures and videos that I'm working on right now. All right, here is the closest look we have to the Skull Lords display. It looks like they're getting ready to move this onto the main floor. Or I also feel like they might consider, instead of having it there all day round, they might just roll it out as soon as we get closer to Horror Nights starting. And I feel like they might do that a lot this year because I've obviously this park is turning into a more family-friendly theme park, so they can't have such scary imagery around the theme park, especially like when we have Secret Life of Pets and Nintendo World, stuff like that. So we'll see what they end up doing when it comes down to the event. I'm very excited. We're only a week away from the event starting tomorrow. They added those banners across those string lights. So excited. They're getting ready. They're so close. Now approaching the Murder of Crows Scare Zone. We actually do have additions to this Scare Zone, and I'll show you in just a second what I mean. They added crow feathers on the scarecrow and candles above it. That's sick. That's such a scary image to see. No animated figure yet, but there's gonna be Baby Crow in here. And then looking closer onto the main Murder of Crows sign, they added some string lights. We have some additional pieces of coaster supports that have been added on this side. And these are massive. These are massive. It looks like the inversion will be over the escalator over here. Kind of cool how close we could get to the track here. If you look closely on the track, it seems like they've most likely installed this elsewhere and tested the coaster. You kind of see some wear and tear from the carts moving above the track. I might be wrong here though. Yeah, these supports are massive. Holy smokes. Nothing new on the left side though. Look at that. This is intense. It might just be the angle we're at, but I believe we have some new coaster supports over here. These look a little bit taller than the last time I've seen them. Yeah, these are new coaster supports. Yes. Wow. And then I believe those are new coaster supports as well, because I remember they were working on some of those coaster footers earlier this week and last week. Wow. here's a look at this over here. We saw it last time, but we didn't have a good look onto it because there were so many people taking pictures around it. But yeah, this looks awesome. We have some additional details that were added to the van over here. They added some vinyls for the caution tape around the van. We see some caution signage around the van as well. They're getting very close to completing this haunted house, which is really exciting. It's hard to see at this angle, but it seems like they are setting up what might be the Weeknd bar. We'll get closer and take a look at this. And now we have more information about Dead Exposure Death Valley. This haunted house is going to be insane. And here's the story. So this military base wanted to create super soldiers, but things go wrong. They began testing their experiments on monkeys, and then they started testing them on humans. And they created essentially super zombies. And the virus spreads between different people. So we might see some soldiers running for their life, or in mid-transformation, or just straight up zombies, super zombies. So not Walking Dead style. I'm saying super zombies. Looks like they might either be doing a dress rehearsal or maze house training today. So they have a lot of people carrying some barricades around. A lot of people carrying barricades around, wow. We're getting so close to Horror Nights starting. Team member previews begin on September 3rd next week, literally less than a week. And then obviously the event begins September 5th. And down here at the lower lot, we have the little portal for the haunted house. Here it is, Dead Exposure Death Valley. It's not open yet, but they have the portal. That's very exciting. And take a look at this. We have the Weeknd Nightmare Trilogy bar. We have some spotlights right above this truss behind the facade. And that is exciting. No official announcement from the park, so we can't say for sure the Weeknd Nightmare Trilogy bar is coming to the event. But I think this is a pretty good indication that it is. Now looking closer to the details above this sign, we have a broken city, and this is very similar to the Weeknd's After Hours Till Dawn tour facades. These were on fire and located right behind the Weeknd while he was performing. So excited to see the food and drink offerings over there. They haven't announced anything quite yet, but I hope they bring back pizza fries. They did a really good job the second year around. We talked a little bit about this on Monday, but they added a big vinyl sticker around the Mummy Eats little pickup food spot. It looks great. Looks so cool. Someone on the speaker was screaming, "Who's excited for Horror Nights?" I wish I caught that on camera. Over here we have the house entrance to Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. And here's the facade for Leatherface's Barbecue, and it seems like they already have the menu out for this restaurant. It seems like Leatherface is friends with the Grinch because they're going to serve the Grinch's Heart lemonade and a lot of like different Christmas treats. Who knew that Leatherface is such a festive guy? We are getting close to Grinchmas starting. To the right of the Transformers ride, we have the house entrance sign for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the legacy of Leatherface. And since there's only one haunted house entrance on the right side, we only have one sign. We have a new location instead of having two haunted houses on the right side. And that's right behind Jurassic World. They're using Soundstage 12. That was formerly used as The Voice. Over here we have the house entrance for the Weeknd Nightmare Trilogy. Some exciting stuff. Because of how the sun is positioned right now, it's pretty tough to get a look onto the Weeknd bar. But we have a sign over here that says Nightmare Trilogy Bar. And then back there we have a Cutwater sign. Seems like a pretty similar layout to previous years. They'll probably have some really nice lighting in there, along with his music playing and maybe some seating on the right side. I caught this at the very corner of my eye, but I think this is the last piece of the Castle Theater stage. They haven't taken this down, huh? Anyways, this is our last look on the coaster for today. We'll definitely be back on Friday to take a look at some more updates for the coaster. To the right of Monstrose, they added the vinyls on the windows for Mel's Diner. And this is because during the event, they use this as a break room for the scare actors. So I'm assuming they either walk out from there and go straight in there. But it's for the scare actors both in the house, along with the scare actors in the scare zone. And here's our look at the Monstrous facade. Looks pretty cool. I'm just not seeing a whole lot of space for Muerte to walk around. It seems like a very limited amount of space. It doesn't look like they have the house portals set up for these two haunted houses though. Yeah, Quiet Place doesn't have one. They haven't even added a banner for the Quiet Place haunted house. I wonder if they'll add that later on this week. Here's a small look into the queue though. I'm not going to spoil anything in this video, but if you want to spoil yourself, go to our last video because we showed off how the monsters look like for A Quiet Place and a lot of different elements from a lot of the other haunted houses here. But I do want to talk about one thing for A Quiet Place, and this isn't really a spoiler, but they trained all of the cast ASL. And the main character in this movie, the hero, she's deaf. So the pre-show for this haunted house is all in ASL. This won't be your typical haunted house. It's going to be very different than all of the other haunted houses we've had at Universal Studios Hollywood. I think this might be their first ambitious project they've had in a long time. They're experimenting with so many new elements in this haunted house. It's going to be ridiculous. And of course, before we leave the park, we have our past member appreciation days collectible tram pickup. So let's go ahead and do that. It's quite the walk to pick this up. They should have just done it at guest relations or near guest relations. But it's outside of the park, all the way behind Secret Life of Pets. All right, let's go ahead and see what we got. Opening it, kind of. There we go. All right, here's the moment of truth. Ah, that's cool. Oh, it's a squishy. I thought it was a plushie. That's really cool. I'd be careful with squeezing it because I've squeezed it a few times now and it's already kind of cracking. But that's very neat. Thank you, Universal. But I think that's where I wrap up today's video here at Universal Studios Hollywood. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm JP, and how they say in the movies, that's a wrap.